Hey YouTube, Lawler here, back from the holiday split. Was away out of town for about a week. Hope you guys had a happy holidays and hope everything's great for you. Today we've got some RLCS roster changes, some confirmed and a lot of rumors primarily in the OCE region, but some long-awaited ones that we've been kind of just twiddling our thumbs until the final announcement, which makes sense because RLCS literally starts this week, which is pretty crazy to think about. I'm going to try to put these out as a timely fashion to make sure that you guys are up to date, you guys know what's going on. A couple of recommendations as always. Number one, if you guys are not caught up, roster document down in the description down below. For everybody in Twitch chat, everybody say hey, say hello. Exclamation point RLCS rosters in chat will pull up the document for you as well. And while you're there, if you guys want to drop follows and support on all the socials, greatly appreciate it. For everybody on YouTube, subscribe, turn on notifications, helps me out immensely. But we've got an update. We're going to go through some of these new rosters. I'll also update these. These I will try to track for you guys too throughout the season, just as like our top 16s. Outside of when I do the like fancy document with like ratings and stuff too. So if you guys don't know what that is, stop by the channel, answer any questions for you. But with that in mind, first things first, we've got some rumors coming from a team that we already thought was solidified, but is no longer. We have this Luminosity roster that was announced with ZPS, Sphinx, and Sosa. But what's different, and this is not, I don't know why he had to be like sources, this, that, and the other from Achilles. If you go to the sign up page on StartGG, it shows Catalysm, not ZPS. Don't know what happened there. Don't know what the situation is, but last second pivot. Pretty crazy stuff. So it is Catalysm, not ZPS. No idea what that means for ZPS. Should be a little bit more threatening, but stylistically, is it going to pan out? I have no idea what this team's going to look like. Sphinx is really good, though. That's my takeaway for Luminosity. Next, we got TSM. There was rumors originally of them being an OCE pickup potentially. But what's even crazier about this is it kind of kicks off what has been this really weird last second shuffle in the Australian area. Primarily TSM was rumored to pick up an OCE team. Now looks like they're looking at Amphis, Superlucky, and Kaka, but the difficulty is Amphis and Superlucky and some of these teammates were not paired the way that we are seeing them now. So currently rumored TSM trying to go to OCE, pick up a cheap team, allows them to basically be in Rocket League for essentially what I assume is free. You guys heard me talk about this in my last roster video about how if the new marketing program that Epic is putting together is going to compensate these teams for the licensing and their likeness of their branding. I would assume TSM is at the highest tier and they can probably pick up this team for relatively cheap. Whether they're going to make majors and stuff or not, I don't think TSM cares. It allows them to have a foot into RLCS for essentially no cost, which is ultimately what every brand wants. No cost to run a roster. Dope. No reason not to be in it. So marketing program probably paying off already. Curious on what will happen with that. But the reason why I talk about this roster first is because you're going to start to see this cascade effect of how everything's go down. Originally, we saw Torsos with Fever and Gus. That was back in November 5th. If we go to the updated version, there is now new rumors that it is no longer Gus. It is now Banana Head, and potentially being signed by Wildcard. If you guys don't know Wildcard, Wildcard was an organization way back that many people don't really remember. And then they now have Amaranth, the big popular streamer, as a co-owner. So I'm not sure why they were brought back or what the situation is for Wildcard or how they got that investment. But we do have Wildcard potentially signing. From the things I've heard, Wildcard has actually ran relatively well. It seems like they are pretty supportive, so that's always good. At the end of the day, if the guys are getting paid, I will never count out this team. Ultimately, I think Torres is still that guy. He is always going to find a way to make worlds. It's what he does. He has not missed. He's like, outside of like JNAPs, I think he's been to the most events, and he's been to more lands, I think, than almost anybody. It's pretty crazy. He's had a pretty insane career. So, pretty wild stuff for Banana Head, Fever, and Torres, if that ends up happening. Outside of that, it's like, what's going on with Gus? What's the situation there? We get more OCE fun from a completely different side where Fiber and Hunter, who, if you guys don't remember the Chiefs, where Yor stepped in and helped and won an MVP and all that kind of stuff, is now potentially going to Razier's. And Razier's was literally all over the place. We didn't know where he was bouncing to or what his situation was, which is crazy considering he was just talking a little bit ago that he's like, hey, if I go to a different region, it's going to kill my career. I don't think it's a good idea. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, bro, we're going to offer you a contract. What do you think? To my knowledge, the going rate for Chiefs for an EU player is like one of the best going salaries as well, if it's true. I've heard rumors anywhere from 5 to 10K. On the higher end of that, I would say like 7.5, 8. Whether Raziers is going to get that same level of love and attention without the results compared to some of the other people that have been making that offer, I don't know. But for Raziers, if he's getting paid like 7, 8K to go and play an OCE, it's like, shit, why not, man? It's not a bad idea. So Viper by no means is a bad player. Either is Hunter. Both very, very talented, very impressionable. I did get to sit and talk with yours quite a bit about this team when we were coaching with Super Oli, and yeah, he had a lot of good things to say. So pretty exciting stuff. I think overall there is a shift not only in the OCE region with players being imported and being brought in, but on top of that, there is this mentality switch, in my opinion, where I think the OCE players finally realized that they are good enough, they are mechanical enough to compete at a world's stage. And for a long time, it was kind of gatekeeping them. I don't think that's the case anymore. You started to see that shift in that narrative. And while, yes, they still did make top 8, they went 2 and 3 like always. I do think they're starting to prove that they can compete at the high level and go toe-to-toe with some of these rosters if the efforts are there. And maybe the difference between 2 and 3 and 3 and 2 and going into the next round of Swiss is bringing in an import. We'll have to wait and see. Pretty crazy stuff across from OCE. Up next, we do have more conversations. I can tell you this one is not even a rumor. This is a confirmation if you go and look at those sign-up pages as well. It does show them under the original Stormtroopers name, which is what we know apparently Jack for. But Stormtroopers is signed up in Europe. They will be competing in Europe. Whether they will be rocking the Dignitas banner or not, a lot of people questioning why hasn't this been announced yet? What's the situation? My guess is Jack, Jorias, and Stizzy are in contract negotiations with Dignitas, who is probably trying to pay less than what they paid in previous years. Even though I think this roster is substantially better than what they've had in previous years. I think this roster is a massive upgrade. You've also heard me talk numerous times about, hey, I'd much rather these guys play in NA because they've got a clear path to being top 4. But to combat that, and why I have a lot of respect for Jack, Jack goes, if I can't qualify, if I can't make it in EU despite EU being stacked with the NIPs and all that kind of stuff, what's the point? Because then I'm not even going to win a major. If I can't qualify my own region, the harder region in Europe, I'm probably not going to win the major anyway, so what's the point? Love that mentality. Absolute W. So Jack, Furious, and Stizzy going to be playing in Europe. No visas needed. Everything's good there. Their coach will be in North America, though. I think he and Mel finally got their visa approved for their marriage license, which has been a 2-year ordeal. So I'm very happy for them if that's the case. But will it be under Dignitas or not? We are still waiting to see what happens with the contract. I assume it's a holdup of them trying to find a better opportunity, something that's maybe a little bit more local, or financially, Dignitas is just trying to play hardball. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a mixture of all three. And then last, but certainly not least, Ninjas in Pajamas have officially confirmed their roster. I do agree with the new super team. I think this team is, while everybody sees the glitz and the glamour of the team vitalities and the Carmine Corps and stuff like that, I think this team is going to be so unbelievably good. I think this team is a guaranteed top 4, not just in Europe, but in the world. I would like to bet on this team. I think Oski is incredible. Hitachi, to me, is still one of the best setup men in the world. And Nas, while he does have some big flaws, is willing to listen. He's willing to learn. His mentality is great, and he has so much potential. I think he is incredible, and I can say that confidently as someone who got to coach him for a brief moment. Nas is going to be next man up. He is going to be another Drawley. He is going to be another of one of those rookies that comes and turns some heads. I think Nas is incredible. His only detriment is that he plays hero ball. When things aren't going well, he feels like he has to do too much, and it puts himself out of position. Double commits start to happen, and the defense tends to fall apart. I don't foresee that happening with the confidence that he should have with this roster. I think this team's going to be incredible. So Ninjas in Pajamas, welcome to Europe. Congratulations to you guys. I think they have a very, very, very good team. So pretty crazy stuff across the board. That's what we've got for your roster stuff for you guys today. If you guys have any additional questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below. Coming up next is the RLCS, ironically enough. On Thursday this week, RLCS officially begins with a massive double elimination bracket. But the day before that, I'm going to try to do a tier list for you all. NA, EU, who's going to the Birmingham Major, way too soon predictions. That's coming up next. If you want to make sure you don't miss out on that, like, subscribe, notifications down below. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.